This Thursday, October 31st at 7:30 at the Rady Jewish Community Center as part of their inaugural J-Fest, they are presenting drag goddess Lady Muse and her band, The Inspirations, playing the music of Amy Winehouse. This show invites audience members to experience an intimate evening of music written by one of the 21st century's biggest talents, featuring such songs as Rehab, Back to Black, and Valerie. This show will have you dancing in your seats to the sounds of Amy Winehouse as presented by Lady Muse and her killer band, The Inspirations. This is sure to be a fantastic show, and joining me here in the Classic 107 studio, I am joined by the one and only Lady Muse. Hello, Lady Muse. So
Hello.
great to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So I first want to start out the conversation by asking about your fascination with pop divas such as Cher, Beyonce, Dolly Parton, and of course, Amy Winehouse. What is it about the diva that drew you to them?
I have always been obsessed with divas, and it's probably my mother's fault. I grew up in a house where every Sunday morning we had cleaning morning. We were not a church-going house. We were a cleaning is close to godliness sort of house, and we would always do it to disco. So one of the earliest things I can remember is like Cher on Sunday mornings, always. And I think also just being a queer person, there is this strong attachment to the pantheon of divas in pop music. So like you mentioned, Cher, Dolly, Kylie Minogue, like there's so many of them, Adele, and they all just represent sort of like a different facet, I don't know, of my personality and how I experience the world, and they just mean a lot to me.
Fantastic. And last week, when I interviewed Carla Burbrayer, the musical producer for J-Fest, she said that one of your first shows featured the music of Amy Winehouse. What is it that you love about performing her music? And for you, did Amy Winehouse affect your life early on?
Yes. So it wasn't even a show then. It was actually my very first experience in drag. The very first time I was ever in drag was Halloween when I was 17 years old, and I went as Amy Winehouse. And it was a much less effective illusion than what you'll be seeing during this show. But I just got bit by the bug of her music as a teenager. I was in high school and I discovered her music. I bought Back to Black in a record store in Salem, Oregon, close to where I grew up, and came home and put it on and just couldn't get enough, like was completely obsessed. And I think a lot of people were deeply attached to her and her story and her struggle and her media sensation. So yeah, big presence in my life.
And as we were talking off air, like she was everywhere in the early 2000s.
100%.
Literally everywhere.
Yeah, every magazine cover for sure.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about some of the songs that you and the Inspirations are going to be performing on Thursday night? Is it going to be hits like Rehab, Back to Black, and Tears Dry on Their Own? What can people expect?
You can expect to hear all three of those. We're going to play every song from the Back to Black record across two sets. And then we're also going to pepper them with some of Amy's more favorite songs. She had a distinct and unique taste in music herself. She really loved 60s doo-wop groups, things like the Shangri-Las. She really loved jazz and Dinah Shore. And so we're kind of drawing our inspiration from her musical loves.
Yeah. And they say like presentation is everything. I think I already know the answer to this. Are you going to go on stage dressed as
the 7-foot Amy Winehouse?
Amy Winehouse. One of the things I love about watching Amy Winehouse is that she had some of the best musicians around playing with her. And I'm not only thinking like rhythm section. She had horn players in her band, the rest of it. She was the real deal. As you've mentioned, she not only was the real deal in pop, but jazz and soul as well. I remember watching her and recording with Tony Bennett. Really something special. Who's in the Inspirations, the band that's going to be with you on stage?
So the core band of the Inspirations is Carter Graham on keys, Kyle Cobb on guitar, Julian Bradford on bass, Danielle Waugh on drums, and Sean Irvin on saxophone. In addition to that, for this show, a wonderful artist who goes by the name of Ingia is also joining on saxophone and on voice. And we have two additional vocalists. The incredible Sheena Radai from Red Moon Road will be singing with us, and TJ Pepper from Big City All-Star Band is also joining us. A bit of a last-minute addition.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. Amy Winehouse's musical performances could also be very raw. You had that incredible voice mixed with this very troubled personality. There was a constant glass of alcohol at the base of her mic stand. Her songs very often dealt with domestic abuse, drug addiction. She wrote about her life. How close an element of Amy Winehouse are you going to be getting with the show?
Well, we haven't censored anything. It was as soon as Carla and I talked about doing this show, my first phone call back to her was to address this sort of concern that the thematic elements of the show really do reflect Amy Winehouse's life, and the language in the show is the language she wrote very much in her own blood. Do you know what I mean? And so we just are playing Amy Winehouse's songs exactly as she would have, and letting them speak for themselves in that sense.
Yeah, and they're just great as they are. Are you going to be going into her life story at all? Like, I'm thinking in particular her struggles with fame and her complicated relationship with Blake Fielder Civil. Are you going to be dealing with any
we'll
of that
be
in the show?
narrating a bit, some story about her and her life as we go along. I think in a way that is maybe more fulfilling to us as musicians, though, because like we all love Amy because of the music, because of the incredible voice, because of the songwriting. So yes, we're going to be talking all about her life. This is for J-Fest, obviously, so we're going to be talking a bit about her Jewish upbringing and how that influenced her as a human and as an artist. But we're not going to be portraying like the tabloid version. Do you know what I mean? We're really trying to get to the essence of who Amy was and why she was creating as an artist, and not focusing so much on the newsreel version of Amy Winehouse that you couldn't escape from during the last few years of her life.
The show is on Halloween. Does this have any significance for you? And do you think it will add to the performance?
100%. Yeah, as I mentioned, the first time I ever was in drag was as Amy Winehouse on Halloween night. So this is a very full circle moment for me. It felt like a gift from the universe when Carla called and said, "Do you want to do Amy Winehouse on Halloween?" I was like, boy, do I ever. So it's a bit of an odd moment in my life, for sure.
Fantastic. I'm going to wrap up the conversation by asking what you hope audiences are going to take away from the show on Thursday.
I hope that audiences, well, the truth is that Amy Winehouse, she just died so young. She was 27. I would say that most audiences didn't and will never have a chance to see her perform live. And so while none of us are attempting to measure up to the mantle of her tremendous singing or songwriting, all of the arrangements we were playing are the arrangements that the band played in the live show. So what we're hoping you take away from this is as close to an experience of seeing an Amy Winehouse show would have been without ever having the opportunity to.
Yeah, it's a shame that nobody will get to see her. She was an amazing performer.
100%. Yeah.
Miss Muse, this has been so much fun talking to you today. I am sure an evening of music by Amy Winehouse is performed by you and the Inspirations on Thursday, October 31st at 7:30 at the Bernie Theatre at the Rady JCC is going to be just fantastic. Thanks so much for taking the time to drop by and talk to me today.
Thanks for having me.